now that show the storm hugging the coast and others that still take it back out to sea. So we really want everyone to focus on the cone of uncertainty. Don't just focus on the center track of the storm, but realize that the storm track can shift, and any slight shift to the west or closer to the coast could bring pretty significant impacts to South Carolina still. Even if it does track offshore, as the current forecast indicates, we still expect potential for significant impact to South Carolina, as tropical storm or even hurricane force conditions are possible along portions of the coast. In addition to the wind, storm surge could be a factor as well. We could see up to 5 to 8 foot of inundations, that's water above the ground, as the storm passes. Of course, if it comes closer to the coast, those numbers could go up. And rainfall will also be a concern. We're expecting as much as 5 to 10 inches of rain with locally higher amounts, and that could result in flash flooding. So again, just want everyone to focus not on the center track of the storm, but on the range of possibilities, and realize that we need to prepare for the storm. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate that. And so with that, I want to go into, we are looking at a evacuation in Horry and Georgetown counties probably at noon tomorrow. We will confirm that in the morning, but at noon tomorrow is what we're looking at for Horry and Georgetown County. And we'll let you know that at our morning press conference. Evacuations are continuing for Charleston and Beaufort County, and those seem to be going as normal. We have 32 shelters that are now open. 4 special needs facilities are now open. We are continuing to work with the Attorney General on price gouging. So far, across the state, we have not seen any examples of price gouging. I think the highest we've seen is about $2.29. Of course, if anyone sees that, we ask that you contact DMD and let them know. But there's no evidence to that at this point. Fuel supply is good. We have waived the petroleum trucks so that they can get through, so that way none of the gas stations should have the shortages. So we expect that to be fine as well, and we're making sure that we make every effort to do that. All coastal parks have now been closed, so they're all clear, and that's one more thing out of the way. The hotels in South Carolina are pretty much full. There are probably a couple in Anderson, a couple in Greenville that might be open. Again, we tell you go to Expedia.com or Airbnb. I know there's some openings in Charlotte and Asheville, and still get on waiting lists for Columbia if that's what you want to do. But the hotels are looking like they're pretty full all across the state at this point. We are not seeing any price gouging on the hotel front either, so that seems to be under control. Director Sterling has done a fantastic job with corrections and his inmates. They're pretty much pumping out 10,000 sandbags a day. So they will continue to do that so that we don't have any issues with the sandbags. Traffic is moving, and as of now versus before we started, the reversal traffic time is down 20%. I am very excited because the work of Director Smith with DPS, Secretary Hall with DOT, and the National Guard, they have come together in just an amazing way to do this reversal. This is something that we were doing after a long time. And what I can tell you is the travel time now from Charleston to Columbia is averaging 1 hour and 38 minutes. So it's pretty amazing how well it's moving. This is now coming into the Midlands. So if you live in the Midlands, do not get on the roads anytime soon. We need you to stay off because all of that congestion is right now coming through the area, and this is when we expect it to bottleneck a bit. So we'd ask everybody to stay home and stay off the roads if you do live in the Midlands, as well as the reversed lanes. If you are going to get on a reversed lane, know that you are coming all the way to Columbia. There is no way to get off, and so you need to fuel up before you jump on that lane. You're seeing it move a lot faster than the others, but you have to fuel up, and you do need to make sure that you realize that you're going to Columbia and will have no ability to turn around. So do make sure that you do that if you're going to take that reverse lane. I can't tell you how proud I think the state should be of Director Smith and Secretary Hall, along with the cooperation of law enforcement and the National Guard, because really doing a lane reversal of this size is something that is complex, but they made it look smooth and they made it look easy. So I want to bring up Director Smith to answer any questions, but also to talk about what has been done from the DPS standpoint, and then I'm going to ask Secretary Hall to speak from the DOT side.
Thank you, Governor. Good evening. We're having a large-scale evacuation. We wanted to maximize the use of all lanes, and We are using an operation that's called lane reversal. That means that with respect to I-26, all lanes, east and westbound, will proceed in the same manner, heading away from the coastal area. This gives us an opportunity to push as many vehicles as possible, as quickly as possible, out of harm's way. How do we implement lane reversals? 2 points I would touch on. Ingress, that's where we load the vehicles, and we load the vehicles in the potentially impacted area, Charleston, right at the I-526 interchange. And the egress, that's where the vehicles exit from the reverted lane. That position is here in Columbia, right at the I-77, I-26 interchange. We also have to flush the traffic. We need to clear the eastbound lane so we can run the reverted traffic there. So we flush the traffic. Simply put, once we give the order to flush the lanes, if you're behind the troopers' vehicles, you would be diverted off to US 321 or I-77 northbound. If you're in front of the troopers' vehicle, if you like to go to Charleston, you have that ride to continue in the eastbound lanes of I-26. As the trooper passes the exits, we'll secure those exits, and we would not allow vehicles coming on the entrance route to enter into eastbound I-26. We'll do this until we get down to the I-526 interchange. From there, that's where we proceed to bring the vehicles in the opposite direction. Before we do that, we work with our partners, SLED, Civil Line Patrol, a lot of other partners, to make sure that we do a flyover, make sure that the lanes are clear. That was done. Once the lanes are clear, now the troopers are ready to proceed on the opposite side, and that's what's going on now. How do the vehicles get to the reverted side? Coming from the Mount Pleasant area, we'll use one lane and take that vehicle to the reverted side. We'll use ramps. We have a modified crossover designed by DOT to take those vehicles to the reverted side. Coming from the West Ashley area, we'll take one of those lanes. We'll use the ramp, a crossover made by DOT. We'll use that crossover to get those vehicles on the opposite side. Once those vehicles are loaded, it's smooth sailing to Columbia. I had the opportunity myself and Secretary Hall to fly over those interchanges along the routes. Everything's looking good, exactly how it was planned. Now, how do we bring the vehicles back to the regular side? Okay, they've traveled approximately 100 miles from Charleston to Columbia. Right here at the I-77, I-26 interchange, we have a crossover. Basically, we need an even exchange. 3 lanes coming from the reverted side. We'll merge those cars from the reverted side across the crossover into the normal flow of traffic on I-26 westbound. And what do we do with the traffic on I-26 westbound? We would force that traffic onto I-77 northbound. That's how we were able to do a smooth transition and even exchange from the reverted lane back to the regular lanes. Resources that we use, the National Guard has been instrumental in so many ways. Even if we have a wrecked or disabled vehicle, the National Guard will have their wreckers along the corridor to clear those lanes expeditiously.